Good morning, Wrightville. Happy Thursday. I'm getting your flipped classroom put together so you'll have it in the morning first thing when you wake up. For those of you that might be new to coming into it, there were several people in an email who said that they weren't even aware this was an option. I've sent it out in an email, so I'm showing you once again. To get into Classroom, it's just like we do at school. You click on the waffle here in the corner, and then let me move this out of the way. You're going to find Google Classroom right here, just like we do at school. And everything is in your homework class. Once you're in your homework class, I'll go over the instructions and what you'll be working on today so that you'll know what to do. And hopefully that means you'll be able to work on it on your own without having to have your parents sit next to you and use their time, because I know they have the things that they're doing as well. So here's our homework class. This is Thursday, May 7th. You'll see it's math and science. You're going to click on that. Mine looks a little bit different. I'm going to click into what you see. All right. So today you'll notice I had thought about changing the Google Hangout time to 9. We're going to keep it at 10 because people emailed back and said that 10 o'clock would be easier for some. Others said either was fine. There was a suggestion to send out an email reminder every morning that we're having it at 10, as well as a text message reminder. So I'll do both of those as well. Hopefully that'll get us all there at 10, and I will be there every day at 10 o'clock. So we'll do that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The reason we're not doing it on Mondays and Fridays is I'm working at the hospital now. None of the 3 kids are working, and I have to help them pay for their rent. So I'm working graveyard shift. That means I'm working all night long on Sunday night, and then I'm working all night long on Thursday nights. So that means when I get home on Friday morning, I need to get some sleep. So I won't be doing a Google Hangout on Mondays and Fridays. We'll do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I hope that's okay with everyone. If it's not, let me know, and we'll just schedule a later Google Hangout for Monday and Friday. So this is your flipped classroom video. Google Hangout will be at 10. Please look at any of the work that has been graded. I did hand some back. You'll want to start your day with an inspirational moment. There's a great video listed below. I've had to get inspired lately and watch a few of these myself to get myself thinking in a positive direction lately. So this is a Kid President one. It's a guide to being awesome, which all of you are. And we love Kid President, so go ahead and watch that when you have a minute. And then if we look at what we're doing with math, the first one, it says it's review. This is math review, and it's word problem wizardry. We've already done that one time. However, this time it's using division, and I made it a little bit easier and user-friendly. So we're going to look for word problem wizardry, solve 3 word problems of your choice, show your wizardry math thinking 4 ways to prove you are correct. So let's find our wizardry math down here. Word problem division. All right. Now we're going to also, need the word problems. So if I go over here, I also need to open up this. Now, unlike last time, you're not choosing your word problems today. I chose them for you because I added a few things in to make the solving and the evidence piece a little bit easier. So while these are opening up, here's our word problem bank. They are numbered just like they were on the addition and subtraction. However, I told you it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and so I need to get into bed. It's pulling up. Thanks for being patient. Move this over just a bit. All right, here's our word problem wizardry. Hopefully, here's our word problem bank. So there are multiple word problem banks. However, you are not choosing this time. I told you which letters to use. So you'll notice here at the corner of each of them, there's a letter. And you'll be using those, but there's specific ones that you're using. If you look at your word problem wizardry, you're going to be solving 3 word problems, but they're not from, they're from the word choice cards. However, you'll need to match them up by the letters. For each problem in the purple, you're going to write an equation with a symbol for the unknown number. That unknown number, another word for that, is called a variable. This is your algebra. Then in the turquoise box, this is where I made it a little simpler. It was difficult on the computer to draw a picture, obviously, and to put a picture in. So I took my time to add in little symbols that you will use. You'll move those to create the picture. In the box that has the orange, you're going to create a fact family for the division equation you wrote in the purple box. If you remember, with fact families, addition and subtraction go together, and multiplication and division go together. So you're going to be writing some fact families using 2 multiplication equations and 2 division just equations, and those go together. You'll see how they're related. You're using the same digits. You're just moving them around with different symbols to complete the equation. And then in the blue word box of the 4 squares, you're going to write the answer after you've solved it 3 times in a complete sentence. So this one you're actually going to be using words on. So let's take a look at this. This says you're going to use word problem letter A. So that means I have to go over here and find letter A. Oh, it's the first one. Jack has 20 toy dinosaurs. He puts an equal number of dinosaurs in each of 4 boxes. How many dinosaurs are in each box? Well, let's think about this. This is division. So we start with the whole group all together. There's 20 toy dinosaurs. He's going to divide them out. Repeated subtraction. Subtract, 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 subtract. 4 times because he's putting them in 4 boxes. So if you look, here you're going to write a division equation. We started with 20. We're going to divide those 20 dinosaurs into 4 boxes. So 20 divided into 4 groups equals, that's your variable. You could say equals A, equals X, equals question mark. That would be your equation. 20 divided by 4 equals A. A is what we're trying to find. So over here it says drag the symbols into the groups. I gave you your 20 dinosaurs and I gave you your 4 groups you're dividing them into. All you have to do is divide them out equally to see how many is going to be in each group. And if you grab on them, you'll notice how I have 4 arrows. When you have 4 arrows on something, it means you can move it. So you're going to move it and drop it in. I have 1 there. Then I'm going to drop this one in this over here. And remember, division is always equal. So I keep dividing them out one at a time, putting them in each box till I find that I've used as many dinosaurs as I can, and each box has an equal amount. I cannot use different amounts in different boxes. Every box has to be the same. So sometimes you have some left over. If there's not enough to put 1 in every box, then those are your remainder. Once I do that, then I create a fact family. Remember on the computer, this is our division sign. So what number divided by what number equals what number? So this would be my 20 that I started with. We always, in division, start with the biggest number. 20 divided by, we had 4 groups. 4 equals, how many was in each group? That's what you're solving for. Now, we're going to use those same numbers, but see if we can create another division problem. We always start with 20 because we always, 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 when? always have to start with the whole number. That's 20. So 20 divided by, I already used 4, and I only have 4 and 5, so let's try flip-flopping those numbers, see if we can make an equation. Now, down here, I'm using those same numbers to make 2 multiplication equations. However, in multiplication, we're doing repeated adding. We're adding and adding and adding and adding. So that means our biggest number is going to go at the end because we're adding, adding, adding to get to that big number. Division, we're subtracting, subtracting, subtracting from the big number. Then, once I have my equation figured out, I'm going to type a sentence. There were 20 dinosaurs. They are divided into 4 groups. That means there are, and I'm not going to tell you the answer, but you're going to type that. There are 20 dinosaurs divided into, and you're going to type it into a sentence using words. Okay, hopefully that's clear. You'll do that 3 times. I pretty much walked through the whole first one with you. The other 2 are exactly the same. If we scroll down, here's one. This is letter G that we're doing. Here are your symbols that you're moving. Scroll down, and this one is using story word problem E. So you'll have to look back over here at your word problems to see what E and, was it G? Let's go back up and see, and G look like. So hopefully that's clear. Let me know. You can send me a text if you have any questions on it. Get those closed out. Make sure you turn those in. Hit turn in, return. Now your next activity for math, this one is a review, and it's a number puzzle. This is solving the equations. It'll look familiar, however, I made it a bit more challenging. This is our 3rd time of doing this, so I added to it, and I made a new one that would challenge you a bit. This time you can use numbers 0 through 9. Last time I changed that and said you couldn't. You can use numbers 0 through 9, any of these numbers at the bottom. You have to have, a number in each box, except for the gray. I grayed those out because you do not have to put a number in those boxes this time, because if you'll notice, I changed this side of the equation to multiplication. So I didn't want to do too much too fast. So we're doing 5 groups of 21. Now when I'm solving this, I have to solve this side. And 21's a big number, but we can break that apart into 20 and 1. What is 5 times 20? 5 times 20 is 100. What is 5 times 1? It's 5. So that means that this side of my equation is 105. If you want to write that somewhere up above so you don't forget like we do in class, you can. You can just type it in right up above it. Oops. And that way you'll remember that this side of the equation is 105. Now to finish solving our algebra, we have an equal sign. So this side, which is 105, has to be equal to this side. But this side, I have to use addition. And so I'm going to have to figure out what numbers I can add together to get 105 over here. That's going to be a little tricky. You have to put one number in each box, and you can use 0 through 9. Excuse me. But this side of the equation is 105, so I have to make this side 105. So I know I'm going to want to start pretty big. I might want to start up here in my 90, let's say 92. Plus, let's see, what am I going to have to add to the 2? I could add I can add an 8. That's going to get me to 100. Or I could add, let's say, 5. And then how many, if I have, 5 plus 2 is 7. That's not going to work. So what if I put a 3 there? 3 plus 2 is 5. And then what could I add here that I add to the 9 that I have 90, I could get 100. So if I put a 1 here. So now I have 90 plus 10 is 100. 2 plus 3 is 5. So now I have 105. Now there are other ways that you could solve that. So I did just give you one answer. You're welcome to use that one. Or you can come up with a new way. This way will always stay the same over on this side because I gave you the numbers. This is where you might all have different answers. There are 5 of these problems to solve. First, solve the multiplication, then figure out an addition problem that will solve that. Could be a bit of a challenge. I think you're up for it. If I go back up here, we have a new math puzzle. It's called a Ken puzzle. It's very similar to Sudoku. Oops. Let's go down here. And this one you might want to reread the directions at the top of the page after I've gone over it. Remember, you can always pause this video, go back and re-listen to it for each activity. Your goal is to fill in the whole grid with numbers, making sure no number is repeated in any row or column. Remember, the rows go across, the columns go up and down. So you're going to use numbers 1 through 4. It says use numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 to fill in each box. So going across, I have to have a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. They may not be in that order. Going down, I have to have a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. They may not be in that order. But I can't have a 1, 2, 2, 1 because I have to use each number one time. And then, so that's where it's similar to Sudoku. It says the colored boxes show separate cages. So do you see how these are a light green? That's considered one cage. The value of those boxes in that cage is shown by the highlighted number in the top left corner, along with the operation sign that you're going to use. So here I'm going to add 2 numbers together to get 7. Remember, those numbers have to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. So what 2 numbers could I add together to get 7? Could I put 4? Could I put 2 with something? No, I can't. Could I put 1 with something? No, because it has to only be 1, 2, 3, 4. So my only options here are going to be a 3 and a 4, because those are the only way to get 7. Okay? Now that cage totals 7, and I did it by adding. This cage over here is the same color, and it has to have a total of 1 with subtracting. I can't use a 3 and a 4. I've already used those. So my only options left are a 2 and a 1. I don't know if the 2 goes here or if the 1 goes here. That I might have to switch around, but I'm going to put a 2 here and a 1 here. Now, when I get ready to solve these, I might find out that this has to be a 2 and this has to be a 1. That's okay because I still have a 1, 2, 3, 4 used up here, but I may have to flip-flop these 2. I may have to flip-flop these 2 as well. They may not be able to stay that way. Now, here is a cage. These 3 go together, and they have to total 6, and I add them. So I have to use numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. They have to total 6. 3 of them added together total 6. Well, if I put a 3 and a 1 together, that's 4. So I could use a 3, a 1, and a 2. I can't put a 3 here because I already have a 3. I could put a 3 here. We could try that. And a 3, a 1, and a 2 is what I'm thinking I need to use. So if I put a 1 here and a 2 here, I could try those. I may have to move them around depending on what goes across here and what ends up going down. Now, this yellow cage has to total 7, and I use addition on these. So I don't have a 4 in this column. Okay, so I could put a 4 here. And I still have to get 7. Now, what number in this column am I missing? It looks like I'm missing a 1. So let's put a 1 here. That means over here I have a 1, a 3, a 4. I need a 2. Let's check and see if our cage totals 7. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So that cage is okay, that row's okay. These cages are okay, this row's okay, this row's okay. So now we have to try to solve these and still keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 going up and down, 1, 2, 3, 4 going up and down. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. I don't want to go through and solve the whole problem for you because that wouldn't be any fun later on. But do you see how you can try different numbers and you can delete them if they don't work? Don't delete the highlighted numbers in the corner. Those are your clues that are going to help you solve this. There are 2 Ken puzzles. There's this one, and then there's one more beneath it for you to solve. And hopefully you've kind of gotten the idea, and you're just playing with numbers. You're practicing on moving them around. You can see the different cages are the different colors. Each of the cages has a clue to what that cage has to equal to be. Okay? Share that with me. Turn it in when you're done. And I believe that is the end of the math. Science will be moving into weather again. Today you're going to be talking about something new. It's weather and climate. What's the difference between weather and climate? They're not the same. Your job is to investigate a little bit and find out how are weather and climate different from each other. All right? So your first job is to read the article, Where on Earth Are Extreme Climates? Use the 3-2-1 strategy to help remember what you read. Highlight 3 interesting or important facts that got your attention. You can choose any color. Highlight 2 unknown or unusual words. You can choose a different color for those. Don't use the same color for your 3s as your 2s. Keep the 3s in one color, the 2s in one color, and the 1s in one color. So you should be using 3 different colors. You can choose your colors for them, but the 3 facts have to be the same color. The 2 unknown or unusual words have to be the same color. And then the one piece of information that really made you think or wonder, that's a different color on its own. So let's find where on earth are extreme conditions. Where on earth are extreme conditions? Right here. I'm going to open this up. And it says use your highlighting tool in the toolbar above. I put a little diagram to show you which one is your highlighting tool. It's still popping up. That's what this right here is going to be when it pops up and ready. You'll see that there'll be a red circle around the highlighting tool. So it says in the toolbar, your toolbar is this right here. This is where all your tools are for the computer. And slowly but surely, there's a red circle coming around there. Gonna have to double check. That's got my red circle around it, but it's not very bright. This is your highlighting tool. So if I go up here, this is my highlighting tool. If I hover over it, hover means just kind of put your cursor over it. It'll tell you what that tool is for. This tool, it'll tell you, makes it bold. This tool, it'll tell you, makes it highlight. So right here, I tried to show you which one it was, but it looks like the red isn't showing up very well, but it's this one here. To complete the 3-2-1 note-taking strategy. 3 interesting or unusual facts. I did mine in teal. You don't have to use teal. You can choose your own color. Remember your colors right here. Text color. Oh, we need highlighting color. Sorry. Highlighting color. So you'll choose your own color and you'll read it, find 3 interesting facts. Then you have to find 2 unusual or unknown words you don't know or words that are unusual. Choose a color and highlight those 2 words. Choose another color and highlight, something that was an I wonder. Okay, so if I scroll down, here's my article I'm going to start reading. Do you know what extreme means? It means the utmost, The greatest possible, the maximum. Interesting word, utmost. I'm going to highlight that as one of my 2 vocabulary words. I'm going to choose yellow to do my vocabulary words. So now that's highlighted. That's one of my 2. Some places on Earth have extreme climates. Climate refers to the long-term trends in weather patterns. Remember, we're talking about what's the difference between climate and weather. They use both words in that sentence, but I like right here because it tells me what climate is. Climate refers to long-term trends. I'm going to choose a different color for that because these are going to be my 3s, my 3 interesting facts. These trends are influenced by many things: elevation, ocean currents, winds, and distance to the equator are just a few. Elevation, I wonder what that is. That's an unusual word. Remember, my unusual words, my 2 that I have to find, are in yellow. Now, can you find more than 2 unusual words? Sure. So could you maybe not have a 3, 2, 1? Maybe you have a 3, 7, 1 if you found more than 2 unusual or interesting words, but you have to have at least 2. Okay? And I know sometimes we say, oh, I knew all the words. That's why I said then find an interesting one or an unusual one. It doesn't have to be an unknown if you do know all the words. So far I have my 2. If I find some more interesting words or unusual words that I want to make note of, I'm going to keep using that yellow color. This purple color is going to be for my 3s, my 3 important or interesting facts. Could I highlight more than 3 important or interesting facts? I could. So I could have more than 3 purple. Okay? So as I go through and read, where would you find the coldest temperatures on Earth? If you said Antarctica, you'd be right. Scientists have recorded temperatures of minus 129 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow! Recorded temperatures of minus 129 degrees Fahrenheit. That's in Antarctica. That is cold. I want to remember that. What makes the area's climate so cold? Much of Antarctica is covered by a thick sheet of ice. I already knew that, so I'm not going to highlight that one. If you didn't know that, you might want to highlight it. Antarctica is also the highest continent above sea level. I didn't know that. I'm going to highlight that with my interesting fact. Or this could be that makes me wonder, and I would use the other color for the 1. So hopefully you see the idea there. I'm going to take my highlights off so that when you want to, if you've highlighted something you didn't want, you can highlight it again like I did and then hit none, and it clears away all the highlighting. Okay? So I'd like you to turn that into me when you're finished with your highlighted 3, 2, 1s on it so that I can give you a grade for researching. Okay? Then you're going to take the knowledge you learned from that activity, and that goes into your last activity. That is, our show what you know. So down here we have a show what you know. Sorry, you have 2 more activities. I forgot about my show what you know. This is where I'm going to take the information and the facts that I learned and answer the questions. Show off what you learned from the research about climate and weather. Answer the questions below by restating part of the question in your answer. This is something we've been working on all year long, and it's when we started at the very beginning of the year when we were interviewing each other, and we had to take part of the interview question and put it in with the answer. Check each sentence for capital letters and punctuation. Some of us are getting kind of lazy with that. I've noticed that we're forgetting to use capital letters at the beginning, punctuation at the end. That is the job of a good writer. That is the job of somebody going into 4th grade. Okay? So how is climate different than weather? So I might start my we did this yesterday, so I didn't give you the way to start it because yesterday I gave you that on all of them. If you didn't do yesterday's activity, you might want to go back and do it to see how to do this. But I did not give you the sentence starter on this one. But I do want to take part of this question and put it in my answer. If I'm going to answer how is climate different than weather, then I might say climate differs from weather because, and then I give the evidence from what I learned and tell why or how it differs from weather. Okay? Or I might say climate is different from weather because, and that's how I use part of my question in my answer. There's only 3 questions on this one. How do mountains affect the climate of an area? I studied that. That was in, I believe, paragraph 2 or 3 on the article. So I can look back at the article or use what I remember. How do mountains affect the climate of an area? I want to start with part of the question. Mountains can affect the climate because, or I could say by, and then I explain why. Okay, capital letter at the beginning, punctuation at the end. Why is Antarctica's climate so cold? I have to use part of that question in my answer. Antarctica is cold because, or Antarctica's climate is cold due to, and then I give the fact. So that should help you with the show what you know. I'm going to close that one out. You'll turn that into me. We go back up here, and now we're going to watch a video thinking about the difference between weather and climate. We're going to do a which is which activity. I don't think I put the video down here. I think it's on the which is which, and that's weather versus climate. Up here at the top of weather versus climate is the which is which video. Which one is which, weather and climate. Right here it says watch this video on weather and climate. If you read in the red, it says hover your cursor over the blue word video. See how this word's blue and it's underlined? That means there's a link there. That link will take you somewhere on the internet. In this case, it's taking you to a video. So if I hover my cursor over, I'm not clicking or pushing anything, just putting my cursor over the top of this. And it's still pulling everything up. I can kind of wiggle it around too, and that'll help. Sometimes I have to go over here and then I take my cursor and go back on it. That's what I'm going to try clicking on. Okay, when I clicked on it, it pulled up my video. So I can click on the video and it'll open that video up in a new tab. I can pause that video if I need to. I can rewind it. I can listen to it again if it had interesting facts. That's the video you're going to watch. Then that video is going to help you understand, after reading the article, the difference between weather and climate. Look at the cards below. If you think they describe weather, color them blue. If they describe climate, color them red. Click your cursor inside a box. Click on the paint can. See on my cursor? Here, this is my cursor, that little blinking thing. It's inside the box. So now I'm going to find my paint can. Let me move this picture down. I'm going to find my paint can. And if I think this one is a blue, then I click on blue on my paint can and it fills my box in blue. That means that this right here tells me a weather. I'm not saying that it does, so don't copy that. If you had that incorrect and it's supposed to be a red, you can click your cursor in it, click on red, and change it to red. Okay, I'm going to click my cursor in it. See, my cursor's blinking in it, and I'm going to change it to transparent. Transparent means it's clear, it's see-through. Weather is right now. It's short, it's happening now. It doesn't last for a long time. Climate lasts over a long period of time. It is a pattern. I tried to kind of give you just a reminder after you watch the video what weather is and what climate is as you go through these and help and fill them in with the right color. I gave you just some reminders up here above of which one's red and which one's blue. So those are the ones you'll be coloring in, and then of course share that with me. And I believe that wraps up what we are working on for today. Typetastic, if you haven't gotten into that, please do. And I will see you at Google Hangouts at 10 o'clock. Talk to you later. Bye.